Hello and welcome to P1's continuing coverage here on Monday night. We're here with Indy NXT back at the Red Bull Ring for our closing coverage here on Monday night. Present, past, and future here. As we gaze down the middle portion of this 10-turn road course in Spielberg, Austria. Just getting into practice now. We're riding outboard with Tyler Langenberg after his appearance in the Indy Open top split. Strength of field tonight is around 2,800 and change, I believe. Just under that kind of magical 3K mark here in these feeder series that we've found historically. Get the timing tower out here on display. Familiar names for the last couple weeks of Indy NXT action, along with some fresh faces. We've got the likes of Jarrett Corey, Mitch Welker, Chris Wetz, Tyler Langenberg, Jason Situ, amongst others. Evan Adams making an appearance. The former Indy Oval Fix community manager will lock in as the 23 car of 24 here tonight. And we will watch along with Jarrett Corey through qualifying here in his what presumed to be now a Willpower livery. We have yet to see necessarily if that actually winds up being the case. We'll hop on board with Jarrett here as he opts to set down his qualifying times. Jarrett's actually fresh off of winning the most recent split here tonight. This is the third race of the evening for Indy NXT Road from the Red Bull Ring. So we'll see if he can back up that performance here with another win tonight. Getting those tires warmed up. A little bit of bob and weave action on this outlap here for Jarrett. Jarrett's off a win last week in the USF 2000 at Sonoma. I certifiably got my butt handed to me by this man. So he's out here to show what he's capable of in the Indy NXT machine from the Red Bull Ring. Navigates that turn number 10 now. Nice wide exit. Gets as much speed as he possibly can. Heading down the front straightaway here. Using all the curb. Third gear. Back on the throttle on the exit. Heading down towards turn number 3 at the end of this somewhat curved straightaway here. He'll slow down right around the 50-meter board. Get down to third gear. Nice, tight line to line there. Wash all the way out. He'll work the back straight here. Heading towards this deceptive right-hander at the end of the back straight here. Nice and tight. Punches on the throttle, gets all the way out to that rumble strip. You see the bull statue under the arch there off in the distance. Gives Barber Motorsports Park Charlotte a run for its money in terms of big animal statues on racetracks. Good bit of curbing usage on that corner there for Jarrett. At under the Red Bull driving experience banner, I believe. And then right hand here. All the exit curb on the world there. Down to fourth. Use the exit curbing there. See what Jarrett sets down here for a time. 18.9, I believe, across the line. Yes, 1 minute 18.954 for Jarrett. Put him provisionally on the pole. We'll watch his second of 2 qualifying laps here now. He stays clean through turn number 1. No off track for Jarrett there. See Mitch Welker fall onto the outside row of the opening portion of the grid here now. Working the back straightaway one more time here. Get the actual intervals between cars, or from the leader to the car down. Still had my timing sheet from the broadcast earlier up with the gaps. We want overall distance from leader now. See if this tightens up. Doesn't seem to be quite as fast through that set of corners there for Jarrett this time by. We'll see if this ends up being a faster lap here for him or not. Works towards the double right-hander now. That'll round out Jarrett's qualifying effort. See if we can find ourselves another car on the racetrack at the moment. Let's hop out there with... who do we got here? Kjell Hogan? I believe that's who we've got here. Hop on board with him. Oop. Currently 14th on the timing board. He'll head down towards turn number 3. I believe this will be his 3rd lap now, so this is not for time, but we'll stay on board with him, see what he's doing. Starts getting a bit tighter at the top between Corey and Welker. Only a little under 2/10 separating those two cars at the front. Steady laps here. We've got a couple more cars still taking time towards the bottom of the timing sheet right now. A couple decent swingers yet to put a time in. Looks like that'll be all for Hogan. We'll stay with a scenic camera here from the outside of the track. Observe the sights and sounds of the Austrian countryside as we get to the last minute and a half of qualifying now. Looking down the back straightaway there. Or, well, I guess at the back straightaway, rather. There's a good aerial shot of the course. All 10 turns. See that bull statue right behind the grandstand. Outside of those left-hander, I guess on the inside of the double left-hander in the middle of the course. Outside view of the main grandstand there. There's the bull going through the hoop. Or the ring. It's probably considered a ring at that point. Close enough. The Gateway Arch of Austria? I don't know. Stare at the trees. Stare at more trees. Nicely situated, this track out in the forest. As we'll get to the end of qualifying now, we will look towards a starting lineup here shortly. So, on the pole will be Jarrett Corey with a 1 minute 18.954, the only driver in the 1 minute 18s here tonight. We've got Mitch Welker on his outside. He's been on the podium the last 2 weeks, including winning at Virginia International Raceway. We'll see if he's got something for Jarrett throughout the course of this event. Then we've got Michael Samoska. He will line up in the 3rd spot, alongside Benjamin Fior, a regular on the Indy NXT coverage here on the channel. Got Eric Doobie rolling off from the 5th spot with David Schmidt in 6th. Ryan Worley will be 7th alongside Chris Wetz in the 8th spot. David Stark will roll off 9th alongside Jonah Riolo in 10th. Ashley Mim will roll off 11th alongside Bill Rapaskis in the 12th spot. Diego Ascensos will roll off 13th alongside Alejandro Palacio in 14th. Kel Hogan, we rode on him during qualifying for a little while. He'll roll off 15th alongside Jason Situ in 16th. Colin Kincaid will roll off 17th alongside Nicolo Bubacco in 18th. Brett Patrick will roll off 19th, the last car to set a time here in qualifying, with the number 4 machine of Daniele Borgiarini rolling off 20th. Tyler Langenberg will roll off 21st. Marcelo Perez will roll off 22nd. Cooper Way will be 23rd, and Evan Adams will roll off 24th in that 23 machine in our 24 car field here tonight. Hop back towards the front of the field with Mr. Corey. We will get our timing tower back up here. 15 laps on offer here tonight in the Indy NXT Road Series from the Red Bull Ring. Suspect lap times will be somewhere around the minute 20, maybe a bit, well, yeah, about minute 20, a little less than that. I think I saw lap times around minute 18, minute 19 here tonight in the race. Believe that'll put the overall race time around that 20-25 minute mark that we've seen here historically so far for Indy NXT. Gonna chime in real quick and say, if you enjoy our coverage here on P1, I still have grid music. I don't want grid music. There we go. If you're enjoying our coverage here on P1, do us a solid. Subscribe, like the stream, throw something in chat, say us a hello, whatever you want to do. Appreciate your support. If you want to support us monetarily, we've got a GoFundMe link in the stream description, or you can throw us a super chat here on YouTube. Full pace lap here at the Red Bull Ring. We will be cruising for a while here still as the drivers navigate towards what I believe would be considered turn number 4 or 5 here at the Red Bull Ring. Might turn into both now that I think about it. Drivers will work their way towards that double left-hander with the bull statue on the inside. We might get a peek of it as the drivers navigate towards it, or around it, rather. Hopefully nobody's going to make it into the bull statue. That'd be quite impressive. See it off in the distance just behind that grandstand. Might get a better view of it as the drivers round the second of these double left-handers here. Perhaps not. We will ride along with Jarrett and Welker, or Corey and Welker, rather. If we're using last names exclusively, they'll be the 1 and 2 cars here tonight, lead the field to the green. The iRating did what the iRating needed to do. Put the 2 top dogs at the front of the field through their qualifying efforts. They're honoring that tradition. Off the final corner, we'll see the field in control of Jarrett. He's off. Welker's going to fall into line right behind him. We'll see Samaska fall to 4th. Fior will get by him. Samaska's going to fight back. We'll hop back to the battle as Fior is off. Big wreck in the back there. Got a number of cars around. We're going to try to see if we can catch anybody who's got damage back there, but a lot of cars off in that first corner. Hop back towards the front here. We've got Chris Wetz in the 6th spot now. Fior's fallen back to 5th after running wide at the first corner. We'll stay with this battle here as Wetz gets awfully close to Fior on the entry of that turn there. Corey's out to a now 4/10 of a second lead over Welker. May start to close as they navigate the back half of this track. We'll stay here with Welker Wets for now. Get to gaps and start watching where the battles are building. We see Palacio looking to make a move on Kjell Hogan for the 12th spot. See Palacio on the outside here, Hogan on the inside. They're going to bang wheels, and around goes Palacio. There's another car off here. That's the 23 car of Evan Adams. That'll put both these cars towards the back of the field. There's a car in the pit lane. I believe that's Ryan Worley. We'll hop back to Chris Wetz now, who now runs 6th. A lot of action in the opening stage here of Indy NXT from the Red Bull Ring. Oh, contact. Riolo's around. I believe that was off the nose of David Schmid. He gets it spun back around on the runoff. Nobody having to take a major evasive action. Very, very tricky here at the Red Bull Ring to navigate in close proximity. We see Langenberg running 17th now. We're going to move back towards Doobie here. He's looking to make a move on Samaska for 3rd. Fior's all over the back of Doobie for 4th. This is the battle for the bottom step of the podium. Jarrett Corey's already out to a 1.7 second lead. Consider him well and ahead of the class of the field right now. So we see Fior looking on Doobie to try to make that move for the 4th spot. Chris Wetz remains in tow. Here comes Doobie on the inside. Jarrett sets the fastest lap of the race with a 1:19.076. So as we start to settle in here, this is now the 3rd lap of running, I believe. You've got Jarrett Corey leading over Mitch Welker. Michael Samaska runs 3rd over Benjamin Fior. Eric Doobie runs 5th over Chris Wetz. We're here with Doobie now. We'll roll back to Chris Wetz here momentarily. There's Wetz. David Stark runs in the 7th spot. We've got Bill Raptaskis running 8th. He's under attack from nobody. We've got Asensos under attack from David Schmid now in the 10th spot. Cale Hogan runs 11th. He's at the tail end of this train. Marcelo Perez runs 12th. Nicola Bubico runs 13th. Ashley Minman 14th. Brett Patrick 15th. Tyler Langenberg runs 16th over Colin Kincaid. Jason Situ runs 18th over Alejandro Palacio. Jonah Riolo, Evan Adams, Daniele Forgiarani, and Ryan Worley round out the field. Mitch Welker sets the fastest time with an 18.456. That gap back to him from Corey is now down to 1.2 seconds. We'll see if that continues to close here. We'll move towards Fior as his battle with Michael Samaska heats up for that 3rd spot. The 1 and 2 cars are iRating position appropriate. That number 3 car wants to do the same. Samaska's ruined the party up here near the front in his number 15 machine, that Alpine-inspired livery for him. Bit wide there for him. He kicks up some gravel. We'll see if that offers any sort of momentum for Fior here. Samaska gets on the push to pass. The classic cigarette liveries are always a classic. Good to see somebody put one on a next car here before too long. This is not an endorsement for tobacco products, but boy howdy have they made some good-looking race cars. Now, if we could just get a camel one. The old, like, blue and yellow camel car, that's a good one, too. Obviously, Williams had the Rothmans car, I believe, at a point in time. We're still here with Fior running in the 4th spot behind Samaska. Welker has continued to close that gap on Corey for the lead. It's now down to about 1 second now, depending on where you find him on the track. So that's a slow burn, but we'll see if Corey can hold on to that lead spot. Maybe stretch his legs in the back half of the lap. Fior goes by on Samaska, come through this double left-hander. Samaska's going to look back on the inside, thinks better of it. Fior's going to move ahead. We'll see if he can start to pull away, maybe start to reel in any of the cars ahead of him. Make that the 1, 2, 3 car show at the front of the field here tonight. So this battle will start to subside more than likely. We'll watch at least as the cars round turn number 1 here, as that tends to be where the passing opportunity may present itself here for Samaska back on Fior. Not quite close enough yet. Move a little bit back further in the field if we can find ourselves a battle. We'll move back to the battle for 13th spot with Bubico and Patrick, as Patrick goes on Bubico down the front straight. And it looks like Perez is going to look on the inside as well in that Ferrari-inspired livery. Oh, around goes Perez. Was that unprompted? We'll check that real quickly now. Let's see. He comes off the corner here, catches the curb, gets, the yellow. He got beached. His car beached on that curb, and around he goes. That'll put Perez back to the 18th spot. We're going to move back to the battle we were watching as Ashley Mim is under fire from Jason Satu. Satu's going to look to the inside here, down into turn number 4. Thinks better of it. He's going to look back in on it. He's there. He's going to muscle his way through. Contact is made. He's going to look through the double left-handers. We'll see if either of these cars have any damage. It doesn't look like it. They got away with one there. So move Mim up to the 14th spot. Langenberg has worked his way all the way up to 12th. So shout out to Tyler Langenberg. Another good charge through the field so far. Field more or less has stabilized now. Mitch Welker has continued to eat into that lead from Jarrett Corey. We'll actually hop towards Samaska back in the 4th spot, trying to chase down Fior as that gap has started to close back up. Archie Bargy indeed. Indy Kirkenbauer chiming into the chat. This car is so peak, I'm mad the Portland week is over. I suck at Red Bull Ring. I agree, Indy. I'm not sure if I'm going to get a race in this week. I've got a kind of a short week this week. I'm attending a wedding this weekend, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to get a race in myself. But I will say we are in for a good one next week, as I believe we will be going to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course in Indy Next road competition come next week. I have to double check my schedule for that. That will be quite the event. If any of the other road to Indy cars, or even the Indy car itself, are any indication as to the racing quality there. Yes, next week will be the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course in Indy Next competition. Definitely looking forward to that one. We've got Samaska all over the back of Benjamin Fior for this 3rd spot here. Does he opt to take a look coming into turn number 3 here? He does not. He opts to wait. He's going to stay in line behind Fior. Gets a bit loose off the corner. Goes wide here. We'll see how much time this costs him. That corner's so difficult. It's a really narrow point in which you got to hit the apex, and it's so easy to run wide there. But Samaska makes the most of it. Doesn't lose an obscene amount of time. We'll see if he can start to reel back in Fior, as he did seem to have something there. Although some of that may be down to the draft and the push-to-pass combination. That can keep your car in contention, which is so nice about the next car especially, is having that push to pass. Yes, the name might imply that you're going to use it for overtaking opportunities, but it can just as much be used for staying with cars ahead of you. You can use it as part of your slipstream strategy, working your way through these races. You know, we see a 15-lap event here tonight. There's 150 seconds of push to pass on offer in these cars. So you can use roughly 10 seconds a lap. You can basically use it out of every corner exit for a couple seconds to try to keep yourself behind the car ahead of you. absolutely crucial. I had that come in play in spades in my race last week at Portland. I ran 5th the whole race, just kind of stayed in the draft, and the guys running 3rd and 4th ahead of me. And there was an outside shot. I could have won that race just by staying in the tow of the cars ahead through that push to pass and the draft. So we see Fior make the same mistake, run wide in turn number 3, and Samaska's back in it. Welker back to a 1.1 second deficit to Jarrett Corey ahead. We've got 7 to go here from the Red Bull Ring. Oh, Welker's around. That's going to drop Welker way down the order. We're going to have to see what happened to him. So Welker, I think he gets loose well in advance here. So let's actually ride on board with Welker real quickly here. We're going to ride it at speed here. He comes off. Oh, bit too much throttle, clips the curb, rides through the grass, and then spins trying to get back on the track. That shot Welker down the order down to 7th. We'll hop back to the 3 machine of Benjamin Fior, who's inherited that spot from him. Welker's going to look to make a move on Stark, though, into that 3rd turn. So that'll move Welker back up to 6th. We'll see if he can recover maybe back to a podium spot here tonight. Big battle between Doobie and Welker now. Welker's going to pop the wheel on in, slide back on through. We'll see if he can start to work his way forward now. About a 4-second gap to the 5th place car, so that might be a tough deficit to overcome, but more difficult things have happened, or been overcome, rather. See if we can find another battle out on track. We've got the 10th place car of David Schmid in a heated fight between himself, Diego Asensos, and Bill Riptaskis. That's I believe the 4 cars you see on screen here. Or no, this is 8th through 11th, I believe. So we've got Diego Asensos in that cool cigarettes machine, the number 16. He's going to get a look on Schmid here. Or no, that's Hogan. Hogan ahead. He'll make a move on the outside in turn number 3. That's quite the call from the number 16 machine. We're going to see Schmid, Hogan look back on the inside. He's going to make that spot. Asensos is going to run wide, lose another spot to Schmid. Raptaskis is going to look on the round on the outside. We'll see if he can stick it. Asensos is going to hold on to it for now. That'll move Asensos down to 10th. Hogan leads this train in 8th. Schmid's 9th, and Raptaskis is 11th. This is the closest battle on the track at the moment. Gaps near the front have expanded a bit. The lead for Corey now almost 7 seconds. 7 seconds over Benjamin Fior in the 2nd spot. I was thinking going into this week, Indy, that this was going to be an underrated pick for this car in particular. It doesn't have quite as much downforce as, say, a Super Formula Light or even an F3 have. So it makes it where, like, those sweeping corners in the middle section are going to turn into a heck of a lot more of a struggle. You know, we've seen it catch out a number of these cars on the brakes coming into turn number 3. You don't have the downforce to sail it quite all the way into the corner like you do, say, a Formula 4 or a Super Formula Light or the like. You don't have the downforce to kind of bail you out. So I think this was a good pick by iRacing's part to put this on the schedule in the opening season here. I think it kind of helped that it was on the IndyCar open calendar this season, and iRacing was like, that seems like a good fit for the next car. We'll line it up the same week. So good opportunity to kind of double up, learn one track, get two sets of racing for it. As we see Raptaskis go wide on the first of those two left-handers. He'll file back. Jarrett Corey, fastest lap with a 1:18.448. He's making those Firestone tires count here at the end. 3 to go this time. This is still our closest battle on the track for the 8th spot, as Schmid's going to look to the inside of Hogan in the turn 1 here. Move Schmid up to 8th for now. Hogan might get the run heading down into 3 here. He's going to file back into the draft now. Both drivers on the push to pass. Here comes Hogan back on the inside into 3. Raptaskis is back in it. This is a 3-way battle for the 8th spot. In other news, Chris Wetz has moved up to the 4th spot. After running around the 6th position for the bulk of the race, he's getting closer to Samaska in that 3rd spot. We'll keep an eye on that gap and see if a battle musters up towards the pointy end of the field for that bottom step of the podium. Wetz, of course, the winner of the Indy NXT Oval Series top split at Richmond a couple weeks ago. Corey, fastest lap, 1:18.419. A little bit quicker that time. We'll watch the conclusion of this lap with Kjell Hogan here. Watch them fire it off into turn number 1 with Schmid and Raptaskis hot in tow. A little bit of a bob over there from Raptaskis off the final corner there, but he's still trucking. These 3 cars in a solid train. And we'll move back to Chris Wetz as he's closed the gap on Samaska a good bit here. Heading off of turn number 3 now. He's on the push to pass. Samaska is not. Might be good to point out the push to pass numbers as it stands. Wetz is going to look to the inside here. Wetz has push to pass. Samaska does not. And that was critical for Wetz to set up the pass there. Coming into that right-hander there at the end of the back straightaway. Wetz will move up to the bottom step of the podium. We'll see if he can start to work away from Samaska on the push to pass. A lot of these drivers still have a decent bit of push to pass. Ashley Mim in 16th sitting on all the push to pass still. That's usually an indication they don't have a button for it, so that we might have to find someone who knows Ashley Mim and tell him, hey, there's a button to give you some extra horsepower here. But most of these drivers are running short as we're going to get onto the white flag lap now. Jarrett Corey takes the white flag. We'll watch the final lap from his onboard here. Lap car ahead, I believe that's Jason Satu off in the distance. Head down the back straightaway here with Jarrett Corey. 3 seconds of push to pass left for Corey. He's used it all up. Lowest I rating in the field tonight would be the 24 car sitting on 1885. Fairly light strength of field here, all things considered. It was sub 3,000, so tend to not see too many drivers petering off. Jarrett Corey sits on 5263 for those curious. He's going to gain a couple more here as he's going to spare Jason Satu as he crosses the line here. Back-to-back wins tonight in Indy NXT competition for Jarrett Corey. Good to see him pick up another solid result, proving once again that the Road to Indy development ladder, it does what it's supposed to do. Benjamin Fior will finish second. Chris Wetz will finish third. Michael Samaska fourth. Mitch Welker, after a tough spin off in that first left-hander couple laps ago, will finish fifth as we see cars start to line up here. Eric Doobie will finish 6th, Stark 7th, Hogan in 8th, Schmid 9th, Langenberg will climb to 10th, Raptaskis will finish 11th, Diego Ascensos, and so forth. We'll get the rest of the field once they finish crossing the line. But we'll sit here with Jarrett Corey and company as they sit idly in a pretty perfect spot here, all things considered, on the exit of turn number 3 between himself and Benjamin Fior. And we will get that finishing lineup here as well. There's still time for him to give us a burnout. He might be watching. He might be waiting. He might be waiting for me to flip the screen so I can get the... There, see? 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 As soon as I go talking, he's ripping the burnout. All right. Jarrett Corey, your winner here tonight. He rips burnouts in the background right on cue. Benjamin Fior, he'll finish second. Chris Wetz, he'll be third. Michael Samaska will finish fourth. Mitch Welker running in that second spot most of the night will finish fifth. Eric Doobie will finish sixth. David Stark, seventh. Cale Hogan will be eighth. David Schmid will be ninth. Tyler Langenberg will round out your top 10. Bill Reptaskis will finish 11th here tonight. Diego Ascensos in that Cool Cigarettes number 16 will finish 12th. Brett Patrick will be 13th. Nicola Bubico will be 24th. Marcelo Perez will be 15th. Ashley Mim, who probably didn't use any of their push to pass tonight, will finish 16th. Shoutouts to them. Colin Kincaid will finish 17th. Evan Adams will be 18th. Jonah Riolo will be 19th. Jason Situ will be 20th. Rounding out the field will be Ryan Worley, Daniele Borgiarani, Alejandro Palacio, and Cooper Way in the 24th spot. We will presumably have somebody here to be interviewed, potentially. So we'll get podium finishers on the screen here as they crop up. So P3 was Chris Wetz. Get a shot of the Chris Wetz machine as I get the standings music out of here. Roll back the cameras to find Chris Wetz on the track somewhere. Backwards we go. Backwards we go. And here's Chris Wetz's machine on the screen. Chris Wetz finishes third after starting 8th here tonight. A solid climb for Wetz. See if he chimes in here shortly. I see Jarrett down there. Give people a couple minutes. So I know we've had Wetz up here before. Not sure. He may be in a hurry. Who knows? We'll actually just get Jarrett on up here since he's already here. And we'll work our way down the podium stack. Jarrett Corey, Jacob Collins, P1 Broadcasting. You got me?
Yep.
Well, Jarrett, you cued the burnouts basically right on cue. So talk us through your race. It was a pretty dominant performance from the pole. We saw Mitch Welker start to work his way towards you until an unfortunate error on his part, getting on the throttle, coming through those left-handers. So kind of just talk us through controlling the race at the front.
Yeah, it was pretty simple. I just wanted to save push to pass as much as possible. And once I saw he got a slowdown at the end of lap 1, I think, and they started fighting at a bit of a gap. And so I just tried to save push to pass while I was up front in case he does get to me, and hopefully he would have burnt more push to pass, which I figured would be pretty big here because there's free sort of long straights and it's a short lap. So I figured we'd be burning through to push to pass a lot, and I wanted to save some for the end. And in the end, I didn't actually have to use it, but I still got through all of it. Just done fastest laps on my own.
Yeah, I think we were watching on board with you at the end, and you had 3 seconds heading down the back straightaway off of turn number 3, so you used it for all it was worth there. Kind of talk us through managing that as the car at the front of the field, right? You know there's potentially a car that has opportunity to catch you, and obviously eventually that did not come to fruition, but even at the later stages of the race, kind of just talk us through managing that push-to-pass situation.
Yeah, I'd use a lot on the straight exiting turn 1, and then I'd use a bit exiting turn 3, and then a little bit exiting turn 8, and then a little bit on the front straight. But each of those is quite a bit of time on the push to pass, unless you're not using a whole lot. Because early on in the race, I wasn't holding the button for as long exiting turn one, and when he was right behind me, that's sort of what I was doing because I didn't want to use up too much, and I saw I wasn't gaining a whole lot there, so I figured he might not be using much either, and he might be saving.
Yeah, we saw a number of cars run out early. I think Chris Wetz, who we'll interview shortly, actually managed to make a pass on a car who had used all theirs up. So that push to pass management comes in crucial. And even when you're leading, it's good practice to just get in the habit of trying to spread it out and use it in a way that's sensical in the event you do find yourself fighting coming into the race there. But fortunately, you had a dominant performance here tonight, led from the pole all 15 laps. If you've got any friends, families, sponsors, anybody you want to shout out, floor is yours.
Nope, just P1 Broadcasting putting this on. It seems like it's sort of staying alive, but I also noticed there's less participation this week, but it should be tracked. So, but yeah, it's great that you're doing this, and that's it. That's all I have.
Well, thank you, Jarrett. We're hoping this sticks around for a good long while, regardless of when it happens. So we thank you for coming out here and joining us here tonight. And good job on the win here at the Red Bull Ring.
Yep, thanks. See ya.
And that will be Jarrett Corey. And we will get Chris Wetz on up here as he has made an appearance. So Chris Wetz's car on the screen. Get Chris on up here. Chris, Jacob Collins, P1 Broadcasting. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, Chris, it seemed like a game of push-to-pass management here tonight. You managed to work your way through the field a good bit here tonight, managed to make a pass on a car who had none while you had some. Kind of talk us through your race here tonight.
Yeah, I'm a little sick, so it's hard to talk a little bit. But yeah, it was a lot of rear tire management. I was losing the rear tires a lot at the end. I knew saving them up was probably going to be important because I didn't get a ton of practice, so I didn't really have the raw speed. But I feel like I did pretty well at that, and I really like to save the push to pass to the end in these cars because a lot of people do go hard early and they kind of wear through their push to pass, and I'm able to get them at the end.
Yeah, I think the final pass you made to get onto the podium here tonight, there, whoever, I don't recall who exactly it was, but they were on 0 and you were sitting on around 30 by the time you made your pass. So that definitely came in clutch for you here tonight. Do you have any other kind of thoughts or opinions on how this race kind of turned out? We saw a lot of traffic jams in the opening couple of corners, the opening couple of laps, many cars running wide, going all over the place. Was it just really difficult to navigate the cars kind of bunching back up into the corners here, especially just given how this car is not quite as stable on the brakes as, say, some of the other Formula cars here are on the service?
Yeah, these are just really fast cars, and the corners can't get it's really fast straights and kind of a tight corner, so it comes up on you really quick, hard braking zones. And you see that a lot in Formula cars at this track. There's a lot of stack ups, a lot of traffic issues like that. So yeah, it's this car probably exacerbates it a little bit because it's a ton of power and not quite as much downforce as some other cars.
Yeah, it was kind of the suspect thing I was thinking was going to happen here tonight is, you know, you've got a bit more power and less downforce than, say, a Super Formula Light or the like, and it's going to cause a lot of those braking issues or just kind of getting into the corners to be that much more difficult. And you saw it happen quite a good bit once you had 3 or 4 cars all fighting for roughly the same real estate on the entry to the corners. But you survived here tonight, podium finish. Anybody you want to shout out, floor is yours, Chris.
And now just Andre Cullen, bar visuals. That's about it. Thanks for broadcasting the race.
Well, thank you, Chris, for being out here. Congrats on another podium finish here in Indy NXT this season, and we will catch you again soon, hopefully.
Thank you.
And that'll be Chris Wetz, your third-place finisher here tonight, and we will show off Benjamin Fior briefly here as he is your second-place finisher. He was off sitting next to Jarrett before the burnout fiasco. Show Benjamin Fior here. He finishes second here tonight. He's been a staple here in our Indy NXT coverage in this inaugural season here on P1. Glad to see him out here once again supporting Indy NXT on iRacing. Want to thank everybody for tuning into our coverage here tonight. We will be back tomorrow night with the Indy NXT Oval Series following IndyCar Oval from Indy, the racetrack, not the driver who is probably still in the chat. Indy NXT Oval will follow that at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time, I believe. Or no, it'll be 10:30 Eastern time. I got to get my time straight. We'll get Jarrett back on the screen for some more screen time for our winner here tonight. But tomorrow night we will have Indianapolis coverage starting at 8:15 Eastern time for IndyCar Oval Fix from Indianapolis. I will have my coverage of Indy NXT from Nashville Superspeedway at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time. Wednesday we'll have the Formula Indy Series from Homestead on the Oval at 8:20 p.m. Eastern time. Thursday night we will have the Pro Series qualifier second split at 8 p.m. Eastern time for Indy NXT. That will take place at the Texas Motor Speedway. Mark Murphy at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time will have the AMA Xfinity Series live from Martinsville, and then Friday night he will be having the Truck Series from Martinsville at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time, which will bring us back around to Monday night next week, where the Indy NXT Road Series will take on the Indianapolis Road Course for week number 7. I'm Jake Collins here with Period Button Broadcasting. I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight for all our coverage of the various open-wheeler action happening on the service here tonight, and all those that do the difficult jobs around the world that let us do what we do. Thank you. Have a good night.